what are the 10 best motorcycles that have ever competed in Grand Prix racing? Instead of giving you my opinion, because I have my own personal opinions on this one, I have my favourite motorcycles like everybody. But to make sure this is purely objective, I've decided to measure this with the metric of Grand Prix victories. So today, all I'm going to do for you is give you the 10 most winning Grand Prix bikes of all time. Now, just a bit of housekeeping before we begin here. And feel free at this point, if you want to skip to the list and not hear me talk shit, go ahead. I'll put it as a chapter in the thing there. But this was a very difficult list to compile. This information was not readily available from what I could find from my research. And I even went to like the second page of Google. Like, that's how thorough I was. So there was a lot of going onto Wikipedia, looking through Grand Prix seasons and just counting up individual wins. And it took a long time. So if we're out by a couple of wins here and there, guys, let me know. And I will just add, it can be quite difficult to determine when a manufacturer stops production of one bike and it becomes another bike. So what I've done is I've taken like a collective. For example, a Ducati Desmo Sedici GP. I've not done it as like a GP10 got this many wins, but the GP7 got this many wins. It's all just the Desmo. It's the same generation of bikes, right? That's why I've decided to do it. If you are a purist and you think each Grand Prix bike, every time you produce another bike with a different, season is different, then this list is not for you. But watch it anyway because, come on. Enough mucking about from me. Let's just get into the list. Number 10, here we go. So sneaking in there at number 10, on 114 wins, the Yamaha YZR 500. This is an iconic motorcycle. Not just because it was obviously very good, but some of the liveries, I mean, pick your poison here. The Lucky Strikes, we had some Marlboro liveries here. The iconic yellow Kenny Roberts bike. Quality looking machine, this one. Agostini even won a world title on this one. And then we had like the Americans dominated on this. We had Kenny Roberts win, Eddie Lawson, Wayne Rainey, all won world titles on this bike. What an icon. 114 wins. I'm surprised it didn't get more, to be honest, but it's short but sweet. It's rain in MotoGP, and boy, was it sweet. Number 9 there, and staying in the family here, it is another Yamaha, and it's its modern interpretation for the 4-stroke era. It's the YZR M1. Not much to say about this one. I mean, it's Rossi's bike, right? This was the bike that cemented Rossi as a legend, and then also had good run with like Lorenzo and stuff there. Two of them were untouchable for a period. This one picked up 122 wins and counting. This is the iconic Rossi bike. At number 8, and this is where it does get interesting. If you thought we were just sticking with Premier Class bikes, you are mistaken. This is any Grand Prix bike from the Motorcycle World Championship, dating all the way back to, when did we start? 1949. We've got a 125 on the list. Boy, it feels nice to have one on there. The Honda RS125. What a quality little goer. 127 wins for this one, and its reign is over now. It can no longer pick up anymore with the 125cc class disappearing. But gee, it had a good run. Now, this is one of those ones where, you had your RS125 and your RS125R, or you run. They're all the. I've counted them all as the same one. It's reigned from 1980 to 2011 when the category ended. I mean, some notable world champions here. Loris Capirossi was a phenom on this thing when he arrived. And then likes Danny Pedrosa. And then this little period there where they had Danny Pedrosa, Dovi, and then Tom Luthi all won world championships on it. Great little bike, this one. And I think it just looks fantastic. Look at it. I love these old 125s. And next up on the list, we are going 2x2 at the moment. It's another Honda. I've got to be honest, I thought this was going to be much higher. It's been done in a little bit by like reduced calendars in its period, 15 race seasons and stuff like that, whereas now you're getting like over 20. And it was so dominant while it was going that if there was 20 race season, it would have won just 20 races every season. The Honda NSR 500. The Honda NSR 500 knocked up 132 Grand Prix victories. We're talking the Rothmans Hondas. We're talking Repsol. We're talking Rossi's Nastro Azzurro yellow. Everyone has their favourite. I mean, I have a soft spot for the Rossi livery there, but you can't beat that old Repsol, can you? I mean, the NSR 500 ran from like mid-80s all the way up to the start of the 4-stroke era, but there was still a couple plugging about in the grid, doing well against some of the 4-strokes. I think we had was Barros on one for that season. I was really good. Capirossi probably as well. What a bike. This has got to be I think this is one of those ones, if it was going on opinion and not just race wins, I think this is right near the top for everybody. What a machine. From the mid-80s when it started winning titles, Freddie Spencer, Wayne Gardner, around that period, into your Mick Doohan, dominance. And when I say dominance, he didn't just win world titles, Mick Doohan. He just won like every race, right? He ran like 12, 13 races a season in a 15, 14 race calendar, whatever it was. All the way up to Valentino. Incredible bike, iconic liveries. Some of the greatest riders of all time. What a motorcycle. And as we move up to number 6 now, we take a step back in time a little bit further than the NSR 500. Giacomo Agostini period of MV Agusta with their 500cc bike that just dominated at the time. Now this MV Agusta 500 came in at 10 wins more than the NSR 500 at 142 Grand Prix wins. Giacomo Agostini with probably 90% of them, I would imagine. Again, here with this one, it's that thing where it had different interpretations over the years. There was the 503, the 504, the 500C something. They are all evolutions of the same machine. Now, this was impressive. 66 to 72, 7 consecutive titles for Giacomo Agostini on this thing. And I just think it's the most gorgeous looking bike. The livery, the number, just this little bum at the back there. It's a cute little thing as well. I mean, just what a gorgeous looking bike. They really nailed it with this thing. Number 5 now, and this is where on the list, we may see some controversy in the comments. Come at me, because you're probably right. I've got a Moto2 bike, and I know that the Moto2 bike, the manufacturer just like makes the chassis, and we've had different engines in there and stuff like that. Is it really a whole bike being produced? And you know, but the fact is, Moto2 constructor that made a bike that anyone of note that's gone through the category has won on. And it's the Calex Moto2 chassis. Now, whether you think this should be in there or not, I mean, maybe then whatever was at number 11 should be in there if you don't think it should be there. The fact is, this Calex chassis has delivered 143 Grand Prix wins to this point. The only rider of note that really has put it together on the Suter was Marquez, I believe, and we've not really seen much from any other manufacturer, really. Everybody's ridden this thing, and everybody's won in Moto2 pretty much has won on it, and it shows in the number of race wins. Now, here we go. Number 4, we get our first bike from the 250cc category, and we've finally got one on it. The Honda NSR 250, the 250 version of, I guess, the RS125, or you could call it the 250 version of the NSR 500. Danny Pedrosa went back-to-back on this one. We had Max Biaggi win a world title on this one. And then their latest and final winner was Hiroshi Aoyama in 2009 before we left the category forever. So this one will not add to its tally. It's finished up on 152 Grand Prix wins, and I think that's mighty impressive. They won their first title on that in 1985 with Freddie Spencer. And what a season it was for him. And yeah, I think one of its claims to fame, this bike, was just the amount of like Japanese riders that would have wildcarded on this thing in Suzuka and stuff like that. Brilliant little bike, and just one of those iconic ones that we'll just remember forever. We're into the podium positions now, and it's another 250cc champion cracking the list. And who else could it be other than the Aprilia RS250? And this, for me, guys, when you talk about your favourite bikes of all time, I mean, it's top 3 in this list. It's top 3 for me as well. This bike's unreal. I think it was the best looking bike, and all those iconic, you know, liveries that it had in its later years there with like Poggielli had a beautiful white one with like the light golden lions over the... Oh man, it was cool. It was just a cool bike. I just dreamed of having one of these. I had a picture of this when I was a kid on my wall just for years and years. I loved this bike. It was tight in the 250 category back in the day. 153 wins for this one ahead of the Honda NSR 250. And what a bike it was. This will just stay here in my heart of hearts for many, many years. Just the greatest intermediate class bike of all time. I don't think it'll ever be beaten. Second place, very impressive effort, but not entirely unexpected. The Honda RC-V. So we're talking from the 4-stroke era, RC211V to RC213V, or whatever we're up to now. Rossi brought this thing in with a bang, and who knows how many this will go on to clock up. It's sitting at 157 wins at the moment, and a good chunk of these, Marc Marquez's dominance on this bike, even when it maybe wasn't even the best bike on the grid. So could be fortunate to be as high as it is, but you can't deny that Honda, the powerhouse that they are, can just put together a motorcycle for the premier class like nobody else. And so from Rossi up to Marquez now, and along the way, you know, Nicky Hayden, Casey Stoner, and everybody else that's thrown a leg over it. Icon of MotoGP, and will continue to be for a long time. This is a great bike, and its latest iteration looks strong again. So, you know, who knows what's going to happen this year. I think they'll pick up a few wins. They may be adding to that 157 by the end of the year. So what is the greatest Grand Prix bike of all time? Let me know before I say the last one now. Who's missing? Who do you think it is? Because the answer may surprise you. The greatest Grand Prix bike of all time, 186 wins, well clear of the competition, the Aprilia RS250. The bike that launched 1,000 careers. It'll never win another one. It may not have to. What a bike. Anyone who's anyone started on one of these. Now this is let me know what you think of this, because I've counted all the wins where it was rebranded as a Gilera. I think Poggiali won a world championship on it as a Gilera. It's the same bike, different stickers, as a Derby. It's won a few Grand Prix as a Derby as well. I've added them all in. It was all the same bike. Aprilia launched this one in 1991 and it ran all the way through to the end of the 125cc class in 2011. It won 10 world championships. Like I mentioned, one as a Derby, one as a Gilera. This is the undisputed king of Grand Prix racing by a long way. Unbelievable bike, unbelievable riders, and just the icon for me of Grand Prix racing. What a superstar. I will say, we have some iconic motorcycles that are not on this list, and it was a little bit surprising. I mean, the most surprising one is like your Suzuki RG500s and RG500 evolutions of your Barry Sheens and things like that. Probably one of my favorite bikes ever, and was very disappointed to see that it wasn't making my top 10. And then perhaps not surprising, but a bike that's been around a long time now is the Ducati Desmo, that really didn't get that close to the top of the list, seeing as how they've only produced one world champion and they obviously haven't been able to win enough races against Marc Marquez over the years. Some great bikes that just didn't quite make it on. So let me know, as always, from that list or any bikes that didn't make the list, what is your absolute favourite Grand Prix bike of all time? Mine changes from week to week, so feel free to just list about 10 bikes if you want. That's it. That's the list. These are the 10 greatest Grand Prix bikes that have ever existed by what I thought was the fairest metric available to me, and what was just pure race wins. Yeah, I hope you found that interesting, guys. And that's all from me. We'll see you guys on the next one. Take it easy.